primary focus of today's presentation is going to discuss primarily method validation, and we're going to touch onto method transfer, some compendial methods discussions, and other minor things with regard to drug development and with regards to some of the current regulations around validation of analytical methodology. So the second slide here discusses or shows our agenda. So we're going to present some background information. And one of the things we want to focus on here is what kind of validation requirements are typically conducted for early development. When we say early development, I think we're thinking preclinical type of efforts. And of course, then we have the designation of a phase 1 or a phase 2 program. Then of course you have separated out a phase 3 or registration type of validation program. So this would be like a phase appropriate designation. Different companies may do this in a different fashion. Present one case study. We'll get into some compendial procedure things and discuss some of the USP recent publications. And then finally we'll jump into some of the method transfer and verifications and terminology associated with things such as suitability. So we go to the next slide. So this is kind of a model slide, verify, validate, transfer, qualify, or find suitable. A lot of terminology, they're very much intertwined. So as I said, the focus will be, this is a phase appropriate presentation, and we're going to attempt to discuss some of the details of preclinical, phase 2 and phase 3, and not focus much on post-marketing analytical method validation. This is for non-biological pharmaceuticals. There are specific guidelines and regulations that center more on the biological or large molecules. So for ease of presentation, we're going to stay primarily with the CMC regarding small molecules. As I said earlier, we've got the non-clinical, and I guess the next phase could be considered a phase 1 or phase 2 type validation, and of course the final full validation, phase 3 registration. So what is the purpose of validation? Well, clearly it's in the guidelines. We have ICH USP, CEDAR, and CEDAR and ICH are hand in hand. You can use the Q2 ICH guideline, or it can be used as a quality guide for a phase 1, phase 2 type of program. It's clearly stated in the ICH and even in the CEDAR regs that their primary objective of their guidelines and documentation is for what we call registration type products. And of course we have the infamous suitable for intended purposes statement, which is an FDA clause that's positioned in a lot of different regulatory documents with regard to test methods. But ultimately, why do we validate? It's to support the quality and safety of our pharmaceutical products. Just to add a little more information with regard to the regulations, if we look at the GMP documents, it's clear in there that although there's not a great amount of detail, it is relevant that and suggested that analytical methodology have some sort of validation and be present. All right, we'll take a short little break here, and I would appreciate it if maybe we could have our audience take a poll.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Harley. We certainly do have a poll question here showing on the screens of the audience right now, and you can vote on this in real time by clicking on your screen. The question we have for you: does your company follow or use a phase-appropriate validation program? And of course, your options are yes or no. And it looks like most of you have already voted, so you can get your last clicks in. I'm going to close polling now and share the results with you. And there we have it. 67% of you said yes, while 33% of you said no. And with that, Harley, I'll hand back the mic to you.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. All right. So let's discuss what we would consider early efforts, research, preclinical, IND enabling type of program, which is probably where I've spent most of my time in the pharmaceutical industry. So we have test articles, and typically the programs with regard to toxicology, pharmacokinetics are governed primarily by GLP.